So good morning. We're going to go over system of linear equations today. So system of linear equations, pretty much you have two linear equations or more linear equations, and we're solving them together, and we're going to find a common solution. Okay, so let me explain that first. So system of equations have a graph of straight line, right? Remember that? When you have linear equation, the graph is a straight line. So if I have like not one straight line, if I have two straight lines, that's what you're going to do most of the time. System of two linear equations, that means you have two straight lines. So when you have two straight lines, what are the possible combinations between two straight lines? Can you tell me? So if you have two lines, they can be what?
Negative infinity to infinity?
Yes, they go from negative infinity to infinity. That's right. That's the domain, and they're kind of a straight line. It's going like this. But this is one straight line. We're talking about two straight lines. So if you have another one, what is the possible combination between this line and another line? The two lines can be what? What is this called? Parallel. That's right, Akisha. Yes. These two lines are parallel. So if you have two lines, they can be parallel. So this is the first case. What else? The two lines can be what else?
Intersecting.
Intersecting, that's right. So they can be like this. One line go like this, and the other one is going to cross it, right? They cross each other, intercepting in one point, right? That's the second, that's correct. And there's one more. Can you think about something else if you have two lines? Imagine you have two pens. So, or two pencils, pen and pencil. So they can be parallel, they can be, okay, perpendicular. They also, yeah, that's another one, but perpendicular, they also cross in one point. So this is the second case when they cross each other. And there's one more when they're in top of each other. Or actually, they're the same line. So this is the third case when they're the same line. So they're kind of in top of each other. Okay? So these are the three possible cases between two straight lines. Okay? So now that means if you look at system of equations, which is like two lines, we have these three different cases. So if the two lines are parallel, if you think about the solution of the system have no solution because the two lines will never cross each other, right? So this is the case when you have the system have no solution.
The third case, are you talking about how the lines are on top of each other? Is it like they're so close, like they are close to each other, but they're not touching?
No, they're touching. They're exactly the same line. So sometimes two equations can represent the same line. Okay? So they're the same line technically. I mean, I put it not exactly the same because I wanted to show that there are two lines, but they're on top of each other. They have exactly the equations that represent the same graph. Okay? Yes, thank you for asking that to be clear about that. Okay? So now, when you have two parallel lines, there is no solution. The system of equations have no solution. Now, when they cross each other, the point where they cross each other, this is the common solution. And the point is going to be represented, always is represented with x and y, right? Always x, comma, y. X is the first number, y is the second number. So that means when you solve a system of equations like the one you have in number 1, in number 2, and number 3, this is how the system looks like. You have two equations with this little bracket in front, means you can have a line. So that's a system of equations, two equations, and the common solution is going to look like coordinate at point. They're going to be like a pair, x, number for x, and number for y. Okay? So that is the common solution for that system. One number for x and one number for y, and that's it. Okay? So now the third case, when they're the same line, represent the same line on top of each other like this, any point from the line is a solution, right? So here we have infinity number solutions because any point is a solution because any point from the one line is a point from the second line. So that means we have infinite solution, infinite points, okay? And this is the case when the system is dependent, okay? Or so the system is dependent. And this is the case when the system have a set of solutions, not one solution, set solution. Okay? And I'll show you how you represent that set. Okay? So these are the three possible cases for a straight line. When the system is dependent, when you have one answer, and when you have no solution. Okay? Now let's look at, so this is graphically how it looks like. Now let's look at the system of equations, like given equation and the system. So they're asking, is the system dependent or independent? How you know that? So you're gonna find out when you find how to solve it. Okay, so in the process of solving, you're gonna figure it out, is it dependent or independent? Okay, so we're gonna, first I'm gonna show you how to solve it, and then we'll be back to number one to check if it's dependent or independent. So let's go ahead and start with number two. So here they give me a pair, they give me 1 point. The first number is x, the second number is y. And they're asking, is that pair is a solution or is not a solution of the system? That's what you need to pick, is or is not. So how you know if that point is a solution? So you're going to take x is 1, y is 8, and you plug it in into the two equations. And if they're true, if this point makes the system, both of the equations true, that means it's a solution, right? So I'm going to plug it in. I'm going to use the first equation. X is 1, y is 3. So I have 3 times x plus y equals 11. That's what you need to check. And you're going to also plug it into the second. So I have x minus 3y equals negative 23. And then you're going to plug the numbers. So x was 1 and y is 8. Okay, so let's check it. Let's double check. So what you have, the first one gives me 3 times 1 is 3 plus 8 equals 11. Is that true? Yes.
Yep.
8 plus 3 is 11, right? So this is true. Now let's check the second one. So what you have, 1 minus 3 times 8 is 24 equals negative 23. Is that true? 1 minus 24 is exactly negative 23. Yes, that's right. Yes. So the system is a solution. So that's what you're going to pick. Everybody understand how to check it? You just plug it in x and y and see if it's right. Okay? So that's how you check. Now, that's the easier part. Now we're going to solve it. We're actually going to find that solution, right? And there are different methods of solving. So one method is by graphing, but you have to graph very precise to find exactly what point they're going to cross. And there's a graphing utility you can use, it's called Desmos. I think I showed you that. Also, we can solve it by elimination and substitution method. So these are the two methods I'm going to show you. Now, most of the students with my many years experience, many students like elimination methods more. So that's what I'm going to do first. And then I'm going to show you substitution also, but it doesn't matter which method you're using, you're going to get the same answer. Okay? So you can use substitution or you can use elimination. Just stick with one. You don't have to know all of those methods. Okay? And there are many, many more methods of solving. We have Cramer's rule, we have Gaussian method, there are a lot of methods. There is a specific another math class which is called linear algebra. And in linear algebra, we have different methods of solving system of a lot of linear equations, not only two. So you can have system of 200 equations, okay? And there's a method to solve it, okay? But this is another class. Here we're going to do only elimination, substitution, only two equations, okay? So this is just introduction to linear algebra. Linear algebra is another class where they solve only linear equations as a system. Okay? So now let me show you the first method, which is elimination. So the method says what you're going to do. You're going to eliminate them. So what that means, I'm going to cancel them, right? And this is what you need to do. You're going to look at your system. You have to be like this in this order. You have x's, you have the y's, and you have equals number in the other side. So the both of the equations are given in standard form, right? And what you're doing, you're going to look at the x's, or you're going to look at the y's. Doesn't matter which one you do first. And you're going to make them the same numbers with opposite sign. And when you add the two equations, the x is going to cancel or y is going to cancel. Doesn't matter which one you pick. So let's pick x. Why I'm picking x? Because it's already positive and negative, right? In front of x is 3. In front of the bottom x is negative 1, right? One is positive, one is negative. That's what you need to do. You need to get positive and negative, and I have to make them the same numbers. So now, how you make them the same numbers? I can multiply the second equation by 3, because 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. And when I add the 3x in the top, they're going to cancel out, right? So that's what you want to get. You want to cancel x, and when you cancel x, you're going to get only y, and you're going to find what is y equals to, right? So that's the idea behind elimination. You're going to cancel one of the x or y, pick which one, okay? So I'm going to look x first. So I'm going to copy the first. Sometimes you multiply both equations by numbers. Sometimes you multiply one of them by numbers. In this case, I'm going to keep the first one. So I'm going to keep it 3x plus 9y equals 9. I'm going to copy this. And I multiplied everything, the second equation, everything by 3. So 3 times negative 1 is negative 3x plus 3 times 5 is 15y equals 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. And then I'm going to add the two equations. So when I add 3x and minus 3x, that's 0. They cancel out. And that's the goal. That's what you want to do. You want to cancel one of those. Now, what you have, 9 plus 15 is 24y equals, what is 9 minus 9? They also cancel, right? What is the number for notching left? 0. Okay? So we have 24y equals 0. So this is equation only with y, and I can solve it. What is y equals? I'm going to divide by 24. And I'm going to get y equals 0 divided by 24 is 0. That's right. So I have a number for y. Now I have to find x. How you do that? You can do it two ways. You can cancel the y, eliminate the y, and you're going to find x. Or if it's a whole number, especially 0, it's a good number to plug it in. So if you get a good number like y equals 0 or y equals whole number 5, 3, whatever it is, you can get that y equals 0 and plug it in one of the equations. I can plug it in the first equation. So I'm going to use one of the equations, which is, I'm going to use the first one. We have 3x plus 9 times, I'm going to plug it in, y0 equals 9. Okay? Now, when you plug it in, make sure you plug it into the right place. You don't plug in the place of x, you plug in the place of y. So now 9 times 0 is 0, and we have 3x equals 9. And you're going to divide by 3, and you're going to get x equals what? X equals 3. So that's my answer, okay? That's right. So my solution, when you write it, it's going to be always as a pair. X is going to be 3, always put x in the first place, comma, y was 0, okay? So that's how you write it, 3, comma, 0. Yes.
I thought that 24 would be a negative 24 because you're putting it to the other side, right? Or no?
No, you're dividing by. See, between 24, yeah, thank you for asking that, yes. Between 24 and y, you have multiplication. So the opposite operation is Division, yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
thank you
gotcha.
for asking that,
Okay.
yes. You're
Mhm.
gonna subtract if you have 24 plus y equals 0. If it's plus, you're gonna subtract 24, yes. Okay? Yeah,
Okay.
thank you for asking that, yes.
Mhm.
Okay,
So what happens
so
if one of
any
the
other questions? Yes?
I'm doing one of my questions right now and I got a fraction. How would that work out?
Okay, yes, thank you for that. Now, this is what you're doing. So if you get y equals fraction or number, it's not good to plug it in. So if you can plug it in, I mean, if you don't want to plug it in because it's a fraction usually, that's when you don't want to plug it in. You can eliminate y now. So let's say I don't want to plug it in y0. I'm going to find x. I'm going to find x when I eliminate y. So this is what you do it. I'm going to copy them and show you how to do it. So I'm going to write 3x plus 9y equals 9 and negative 1x plus 5y equals negative 3. So let's say you find y 0 or whatever fraction you get, doesn't matter what you get. After you eliminate x, you're going to find y. Now, if you don't want to plug it in, you can eliminate y now and you're going to find x. Okay? So let's say I want to eliminate the y. So if I want to cancel the y, I need to make the same number in front of the y's with opposite side. So that means I'm going to multiply the first number, 9, because think about common denominator. So 9 and 5. In this case, you're going to multiply both of the equations by something. So what number they're going to make, 9 and 5? 45, right? So I need to multiply the first by 5, because 5 times 9 is 45, and the second by 9. Okay, that's right. So when I multiply 9 times 5, it's going to be 45, and 9 times 5 also 45. So both of those are going to be 45, but one of them have to be a negative. So you can multiply by negative 5 and 9, or 5 and negative 9. I'm going to use negative 9. Because they have to be with opposite signs also. Okay? So in this case, you're going to multiply the first equation by 5 and the second equation by negative 9. So you're going to multiply both of the equations by number. And then when you do that, you're going to get, let's do that. So multiply averaging the first equation by 5. So 5 times 3 is 15x plus 9 times 5 is 45y equals 45, right? Both sides. Make sure you multiply both sides by 5. Then the second equation by negative 9. So negative times negative is positive 9x. And then it's going to be minus, because negative times positive is negative 45y equals positive 3 times 9 is what? 27. Okay? See, we have positive and negative. So when you add them, it's going to be 0, cancel out. And then what you're going to get? You're going to get 15 plus 9 is what? 24x equals, what is that equals? 45 and 27 is what? 72. And then you're going to divide both sides by 24. And what that gives you? Exactly the same, right? Okay? Everybody see that? Any questions? So you're still going to get the same. If you eliminate x, you're going to find y. If you eliminate y, you're going to get x. Okay? So you can multiply both the equations by something, or you can multiply only one of them by something. Why this negative 9? Because you want to have positive 45 and negative 45. They have to be with opposite sign. Okay? So one of those 5 or 9 have to be negative. Okay? You can pick negative 5 and positive 9. Doesn't matter. Okay? Yes. Okay, any other questions? Everybody good? So that's how you do elimination method. And again, you can have variations. You can cancel x first, or you can cancel y first, doesn't matter. And then after you find one of them, x or y, doesn't matter, you can plug it back in one of the equations, or you can eliminate the other variable, doesn't matter. So you can do it in different ways, but the method is canceling one of the x or the y. Pick which one first, okay? So that's the elimination method. And now let's go ahead and let me show you the substitution method, which the student like elimination better, but I'm still going to show you the substitution. Well, let me ask you, do you like this method?
I see where we're going with my math.
Oh, yeah, be careful with the numbers. Okay, let you have a thumbs up. Okay, so let's see. Let me show you the substitution. Yeah, you have to be careful with the numbers. So let me show you substitution method. Substitution is the second method I'm going to show you. Okay, so substitution, we're going to substitute. That's the name, right? Substitute. You're going to plug it in something. And this is how the method works. So you're going to pick one of the equations, the first or the second, doesn't matter. And in that equation, you're going to solve for x, or you're going to solve for y. Get x by itself or y by itself. And then after you do that, you're going to plug it back into the other equation. Okay? So usually how I pick which one to start with. Usually I start with the equation with smaller coefficients. In this case, the first equation has smaller numbers in front of the x and the y, right? So I'm going to start with the first equation, because the numbers in front of x and y are smaller. I mean, doesn't matter technically, but this is what I'm doing. So now I'm going to pick the first equation and I'm going to solve for x or y, doesn't matter. Pick one. You can solve for x or you can solve for y, doesn't matter in this case. Which one you want to solve for? X, y?
X.
Let's do x. So I want to get x by itself, right? So if I want to get x by itself, I need to subtract 7y in both sides, right? That's the first step. Minus 7y, right? So I'm going to move 7y over. Let me write it better so I can see. So if I want to get, I'm going to write it here. So I have 6x plus 7y equals 6. And I'm going to get x by itself. So I'm going to subtract 7y in both sides. And this cancels. So it's going to be 6x equals 6 minus 7y. And then I'm going to divide by 6. Everything over 6. So my x in the first equation is 6 minus 7y over 6. This is the x. Okay? Then what you're doing from here, we're going to get what is x equals to. X is this. And I'm going to plug it back into the place of x into the second equation. So this is going to go over here, right? Make sure if you solve the first equation, you plug it into the second. If you solve the second, you plug it into the first. Okay, you have to use both equations. So I'm going to get what I have, 12. And then I'm going to put my x there, minus 21y equals 5. So this is my equation, and I'm going to plug it in. 6 minus 7y over 6 is my x. And then I'm going to simplify. See, look at this equation. You have only y. There's no more x in this equation. So if there's no more y, no more x, only y, I solve it and find what is the number for y. Okay? How you solve it? You have multiplication here. You can divide by 6 up and down, so that'll give me 2. And this is 1. And then I'm going to distribute 2 times 6, 2 times negative 7. Do the parentheses first, right? So I have 2 times 6 is 12. Minus 2 times 7 is 14y, minus 21y equals 5. Okay? I'm going to combine the y's, add these two numbers, and I can also subtract 12 in both sides to move them. It's solving linear equation pretty much. So negative 14 and negative 21, that gives me negative 35 equals negative 7, right? 5 minus 12 is negative 7. And then we have only y by itself, so what you're doing to divide by negative 35. So what you get? Y equals? Y equals what?
Over 5?
No, it's not 5. 1 over 5. Because negative, is positive, that's right. But you divide by 7, up and down. So 7, it's 1 over 5. 1 is in the top, 5 is in the bottom. So that's my y, right? Now, in order to find x, you can plug it back in one of the, and pretty much plugging back into the substitution is the best way to go. Or you can now solve y by itself and plug it into the other one. But it's kind of a longer process. Where the 2 come from? Okay, because here when you divide 12, you can multiply by 12 and then split it, but it's easier if you just reduce because you have multiplication. You divide 12 by 6. 12 divided by 6 is 1 in the bottom and 2 in the top. You're reducing it. You actually divide by 6 up and down. Okay? Make sure you get that too. Okay. Okay, so any questions how I get y by itself? Now we have to find x, right? So the best way to go is when you replace y with 1/5. So I'm going to get x equals, let's use the blue one, or let's use black, I don't know. X equals 6 minus 7 times 1/5, everything over 6. And you can use symbol up to solve that, or you can do it in your head, like find common denominator, multiply by 5 up and down, you can do that. Yeah, let's do that. So I'm going to multiply by 5 to cancel this 5 in the bottom. Or you can just use symbol up. So we have 6 times 5, so multiply 5 times 6, 5 times this. So it's going to be 30 minus 5 and 7 over 30. So 30 minus 7 is 23 over 30. So this is my x. Okay? So the final answer is going to be x. That's what you're going to put first. I'm going to put it in the box. So it's going to be 23 over 30, comma, 1 over 5. Okay? So this is the substitution method. So let me ask you, which one do you like better?
Elimination.
Okay, that's what all my students says, yes. So we can eliminate, yes. Elimination, you can do elimination all the time, okay? So let's go ahead and see what else we have. We have one more word problem. I'm going to go over that in a minute. But let's go back to number 1 and see. Looking at number 1, and if I want to solve it to see what type of system it is, independent or dependent, how you're going to solve this? See, it's already ready to add, right? You have, looking at the y's, y minus y is going to cancel, so I'm going to eliminate them, right? So I'm going to add those two, this cancel. So I'm going to get 2x equals, what is that? 11, right? So in this case, we have x equals number. So if you have x equals number, the system is not dependent. It's independent, right? So that's what you're going to pick there. Independent means you have solution. Okay? So that's how you do those questions. That's how you solve a system of equations. So I'm going to do one more word problem here. And then after that, I can do more of these systems if you want to practice a little more. Okay?
Doctor, how'd you get 2x was 11?
I add the two equations. So I add them because they are ready to add. We see you have y, they're ready to eliminate. Y minus y is 0. Yes?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so any questions? So let's go ahead and do the application. We have one more, number 5, which is like a word problem. And we're gonna do this. Gonna read it first, and then you're gonna solve it using system of equations. So let's see. We have to solve this problem. So the question is, for each sales staff, a company offered 2 salary options. So think about, you're selling something, cars, houses, doesn't matter, you're selling something. And they offer you 2 options. The first option, they're gonna pay you $350 per week, plus a commission of 3.75% of sales. So depends what you sell, you can make a lot of money, or if you don't sell, you're gonna get $350, right? And then the other option is they're gonna give you $225 for sure per week. Every week they're gonna give you $225 plus a bigger percent, 4.5% of the sales. Okay? So first question is, find the equations to express income as functions of sales. So X represent the sales. So think about, there's no formula here. Just think about, if you're selling something, we don't know how much you sell. So let's say you're selling a house for X dollars, or a car, doesn't matter. So you're selling X. How are you going to calculate your commission? You're going to get the percent of it, right? So let's look at the first equation of option 1. So they're going to pay you $350 per week plus a commission. So how the equation is going to look like? Any ideas?
Put 350 and then plus C, because for the commission for right now.
Okay, so that's right. So it's going to be 350. You're going to get 350 for sure. Plus, now think about how you're going to calculate the commission.
35 times X.
35, it's 3.75.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yes, that one.
You're going to calculate the percent, yes, of the sales, yes. Okay, now, when you get a percent of something, do you use 3.75? Or let's think about, you're selling let's say you're selling a car for $100. So if you have $100 sales, how many percent is your commission? How much is your commission? How much? Is it $3? Or what is it? So if you're selling for $100, how are you going to get 3.75% of it? What is 3.75% of, yes, multiply. What you're multiplying?
3.75 times 100.
So it's $3. It's 3% of 100.
I guess.
Okay, but now, yeah, that's right. It's $3, yes. But when you multiply 3.75 times 100, you're gonna get what? 375, right?
Oh, yeah.
So if the commission is 375, I don't think so.
No.
Yes. Yes, Tyson have it. It's 0.037. You need to change this to decimal. Remember we did compound interest
yeah.
last week.
Mhm.
Yes? Okay. So when you do compound interest, the rate have to be decimal. So you have to change 3% to what? 0.0375. Because when you multiply by 100, what you're gonna get? Exactly 3.75. Yes. Okay. So what you need to do is change the percent to decimal and multiply by x. I'm going to delete this. Okay? So it's going to be 350 plus 0.0375x. So that's my equation. So in this equation, I can calculate what is my commission, what is my check, right? In the end of the week, how much I'm going to get. And then you do the same with the second salary option, right? This is per week plus 4.5%. And again, don't forget 4.5, change it to decimal, right? So the equation is going to be, option 2 is going to be what? 225 plus 0.045x. Okay? Everybody get that? So that's the equation. That's how you set up your equations. Don't forget that the percent have to go to decimal. Okay? And so that's the first part. So this have to go to decimal form. And make sure you multiply by x. Okay? Okay, so now let's see the next one. Find the weekly sales level, which is what is x. That produces equal salary. So what they're saying, how much you have to sell, or how much you have to sell this week. So you should get the same paycheck. Doesn't matter if it's option 1 or option 2. So what you need to do is solve the system together, right? Option 1 equals option 2. That's what they're saying. So you can look at it like this. Option 1 equals option 2. That's what you need to solve. So what is the option 1 equals? It's going to solve, set the two options equal to each other, right? So you need to solve 350 plus 0.0375 x equals 225 plus 0.045 x. Okay, so this is the equation we have to solve. And how you solve that equation? You're going to get x together, right? So we can subtract 0.375 on both sides. And you can also subtract 225. So what is left? 350 minus 225 is 125. 0.045 minus 0.0375 is 2. And then you're going to divide both sides by the number in front of x. And you're going to have what you get. So x is going to be 16,666.66. It's repeating 6, right? Now, you need to round to the 2 decimal places, right? To the nearest cent. And when you round, you look at the next number, which is 6. And then you're going to add 1 here. So your x is going to be 16,066.67. Okay? So that's your final answer. Okay? Any questions? Okay, so that's my answer. Okay, so that's how you solve system of equations. Now, do you guys want to solve for another one like this, or you want to continue with the, everybody understand how to solve it? Okay, then I'm just gonna go over the circles, and then you're gonna stop here for next time. You're gonna finish all the other conic sections. Okay, so I'm gonna finish just these two circles. So now let me explain something. What are the conic sections? So here I want to show you conic
The
sections.
parabola and the hyperbola. These four are known as conic sections. And slice it at different places, we get the circle, the ellipse, the parabola,
Okay, everybody see that? So we're going to talk about circle. So if you slice it parallel to the base, you have a cone, right? Like a ice cream cone. When you turn it backwards, if you slice it parallel to the base, it's going to be a circle. If you slice it in an angle like this, which is not crossing the base, it's going to be ellipse. If you cross it with the slice, which is after the center, so that's what is important, after the center. The center of the base is here, so it's like in the same side, the other side of the base is going to be parabola. And if you slice it in the same side, so this point and whatever you're cutting is in the same side of the center, is going to be hyperbola. So these are the four different conic sections, okay? Now, we already talked about parabola. We find the vertex, this is called vertex, remember that? Okay, this is the vertex. Now, I'm going to go over circle now, and then next time we're going to talk about ellipse and hyperbola. We're going to talk about equations of them. So all of these, they're quadratic, parabola, hyperbola, they're quadratic equations, okay? Now, what is the difference? Circle have x squared plus y squared equals r squared. This is the equation of circle with center 0, 0. Now, the parabola, we talked about parabola last week, is the equation you have, the equation is y, and there is a x squared, right? That's parabola. So y is linear, x is quadratic. Now, ellipse and hyperbola, you have x squared, y squared, and this is the difference. The ellipse has equation, for example, x squared over a squared plus y squared over b squared equals 1. So this is the equation of ellipse. You have x squared with plus in the middle and y squared. And hyperbola has equation the same like ellipse, but with minus in the middle. So it's going to be x squared over a squared minus y squared over b squared equals 1. So ellipse and hyperbola, they have it equals 1. Hyperbola has minus in the middle. Ellipse have plus in the middle. So that's what we're going to talk about next class. Circle has equation x squared plus y squared equals r squared radius squared. And the parabola is y equals x squared. Usually have x squared plus bx plus c. This is the general form. We talk about that, right? It's a quadratic, okay? So these are the equations for all the different conic sections. So this is bx plus c. Okay? So this is parabola. We have ellipse, hyperbola, and circle. So now we're going to go over circle. Okay? So let's do that. Okay, so we're going to go back to my handout and we're going to go over circle. So the equation of circle with center 0, 0, I'm going to write the equation here. So the equation of circle with center 0, 0, so the center is 0, 0. The equation is x squared plus y squared equals r squared. Okay, this is standard form, and the general form is going to be x squared plus y squared minus r squared equals 0. This is just different form. So this is general form. That's what you have here, general form. So the question is, what is the, so here the center is 0, 0, and the radius is whatever the number is there. Okay? So what is the center looking at my formula? The center is going to be 0 and 0, right? If the center is not 0, 0, then it's going to look different. Okay, but all the questions we have here in this unit are going to be center 0, 0. Now, if the center is h and k, I'm going to give you the formula, and the radius is r, the equation is going to look like this. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. This is the standard form. Okay? So it's going to look like this. You're going to have more numbers there. But if it's only one number, then center is 0, 0. Okay? Now, what is the radius? The radius in the formula is square, right? So this 81 is going to give me the radius. So I know the radius square is 81. So what is the radius? What number square is 81? What times what is 81? 9, that's right. 9 times 9 is 81. So my radius is going to be 9. That's it. Okay, so that's all what you do. You take the square root of the number. Okay? Any questions here? And let's do the next one the same way, the same formulas. So here we have to find the equation. So they don't give me the equation. We have to find it. The center is 0, 0. And we have to find the equation. We have to find how the equation looks like. So you can just look at my graph. We have given a point. So if the center is 0, 0, the equation is going to be x squared plus y squared equals r squared. This is my standard form, right? Okay? The general form is going to be equal 0. So now, from this equation, okay, so from this equation, I'm going to find the equation, right? What is given? We have this circle given. We have this point on the circle. So the first number is x, and the second number is y. So what I'm doing, I'm going to plug x and y in the formula, and I'm going to find what is the r. So I have negative 3 is my x squared, plus 2 is the y squared, equals r squared. So negative 3 times negative 3 is 9, plus 4 is 13. So r squared is 13. So what I'm doing, I'm going to replace r squared with 13, and that's my answer. So standard form, I'm going to write the answer here. So the standard form is going to be x squared plus y squared equals 13. Okay? That's my answer for the standard form. Now, how I'm going to get from standard to general form? I'm going to subtract 13 in both sides, right? I'm going to just move 13 over. So it's going to be x squared plus y squared minus 13 equals 0. So these are my two answers. Okay? Any questions? Everybody understand that? So that's all what you're doing here.